Queen Mary of Denmark, the dazzling Australian-born consort who has steadily transformed from a shy young woman into one of Europe's most beloved and strategically astute queens, has finally achieved a monumental goal that has sent ripples of admiration and surprise through every corner of the global media. From the polished marble halls of Amalienborg Palace in Copenhagen to the flashing cameras of European tabloids, there simply isn't a media outlet that hasn't seized upon this crowning moment of triumph for Denmark's queen. So powerful and poignant is this development that it has not only cemented Queen Mary's legacy among the Danish people but also rewritten the playbook for what a modern monarchy can symbolize. Even before this milestone was reached, Mary had long been regarded as the secret weapon of the Danish crown, a woman who fused regal elegance with an almost magnetic relatability. But now, standing at the apex of her ambitions, she is being hailed as the ultimate symbol of commitment, patience, and a quietly burning determination that never lost sight of the bigger dream. And what precisely was this dream that Queen Mary has finally clasped so tightly in her graceful hands? It is a dream that was not just personal, but deeply interwoven with the fate and image of the Danish monarchy itself. For years, insiders whispered about Queen Mary's aspirations to not only preserve but elevate Denmark's royal house onto a grander, more dynamic stage. Some said she hoped to become the very face of a new generation of European royalty, a consort who does not simply stand beside her king, but who actively shapes the destiny of the throne alongside him. That day has come. Queen Mary has orchestrated a sweeping diplomatic and cultural triumph that has effectively cemented Denmark's position as a central pillar of European unity and soft power. Through relentless work behind the scenes, countless engagements with world leaders, patronage of global humanitarian causes, and an unparalleled eye for the soft diplomacy woven through fashion and cultural exchanges, she has carved out a luminous new chapter not just for herself, but for Denmark. And with the international spotlight burning more intensely than ever upon Copenhagen's elegant palaces, the Queen's goal is no longer merely an ambition whispered over royal banquets, it is an incontrovertible reality. What makes this achievement all the more spectacular is the path Queen Mary traveled to reach it. Imagine for a moment the young Mary Donaldson, an Australian commoner working in advertising in Sydney, leading a normal life that revolved around beach outings, lively barbecues, and the daily buzz of office chatter. Could she have ever truly envisioned that a simple encounter at the Slip-In pub during the 2000 Sydney Olympics with Crown Prince Frederik would catapult her into a destiny of such magnitude? Back then, neither she nor the world could foresee that she would one day become Queen Mary of Denmark, adored by millions, an emblem of grace under pressure, and the driving force behind one of the most sophisticated modern royal courts. But it wasn't merely the fairy tale romance that defined her journey. From the moment Mary set foot on Danish soil, she was determined not to simply fit into the rigid mold of monarchy but to carefully, respectfully, and innovatively reshape it. She mastered the Danish language at a speed that stunned royal observers, absorbed the nuances of her new nation's traditions with heartfelt sincerity, and consistently proved herself not merely a decoration on Frederik's arm but a powerhouse of influence and intellect. Through years of meticulously curated charity initiatives, focusing especially on issues close to her heart such as mental health, domestic violence prevention, and the well-being of children and women globally, Mary gradually built a portfolio of work that showcased both compassion and strategic acumen. While tabloids were often distracted by the stunning jewels and glamorous gowns, insiders knew there was a formidable mind at work beneath those elegant hats. The culmination of all these years, the intense study, the endless events, the carefully balanced public image, is precisely why today every news anchor across Europe utters her name with a mixture of reverence and fascination. Just recently, global headlines erupted when Queen Mary spearheaded an ambitious international summit held right in the heart of Copenhagen, drawing dignitaries, top-tier policymakers, and influencers from across Europe and beyond. It wasn't just any royal pageant of state dinners and polite speeches, it was a landmark demonstration of Denmark taking a lead role on pressing global issues ranging from sustainability to humanitarian crises. Watching Queen Mary step confidently onto the dais, deliver a rousing keynote in flawless Danish and English, and guide the conversations with the deft skill of a seasoned diplomat, there was little doubt left in anyone's mind. She had reached her ultimate goal of elevating the Danish monarchy onto a stage it had not confidently stood upon in decades. The magnitude of this success was immediately recognized. Danish newspapers devoted entire front pages to Queen Mary's accomplishment, splashing her radiant smile across every broadsheet and tabloid. European news networks replayed her speeches with glowing commentary. Even distant broadcasters in Australia, beaming with national pride, ran special segments tracing her extraordinary arc from Hobart schoolgirl to global queen. Royal commentators couldn't help but note how seamlessly she seemed to embody a unique blend of regal gravitas and approachable warmth, a blend that resonated deeply with both the high-powered delegates at the summit and the ordinary citizens watching from living rooms across the world. There were, of course, deeply emotional moments behind these polished public scenes. In private, palace insiders revealed how Mary had confided to close aides just how much this triumph meant to her on a personal level. To her, it was never about personal glory. This was about honoring the immense trust the Danish people had placed in her from the very first day she appeared on those icy palace steps. It was about repaying the warmth with which they welcomed her, an outsider, into one of Europe's oldest royal families. It was about ensuring that her children, Prince Christian, Princess Isabella, and the twins Prince Vincent and Princess Josephine, would inherit a throne that stood proudly on the world stage, admired not just for its glittering tiaras but for its profound relevance in a rapidly changing world. Observers at the summit spoke of one unforgettable moment when Queen Mary, after concluding a key panel, stepped down from the stage and was immediately surrounded by a sea of delegates, each eager to exchange words, snap photos, or simply bask in her glow. Witnessing these seasoned political figures, often accustomed to stiff formalities, lean in with genuine smiles and even audible laughter in her presence spoke volumes of the magnetic effect she has carefully cultivated over these many years. This was diplomacy at its most human, and most effective. And back home in Denmark, the impact was just as profound. Across Copenhagen, flags were unfurled in celebration. Social media platforms exploded, as Danes young and old posted tributes, memes, and heartfelt messages. Schools ran special assemblies discussing the significance of their queen's global achievement, and countless Danes were seen wearing small pins of the royal monogram as a sign of solidarity and pride. This wave of admiration was not confined to the borders of Denmark. Throughout Europe, other royal households were watching carefully, some perhaps with a touch of envy, as Queen Mary demonstrated exactly how a modern consort could redefine the influence of monarchy in the 21st century. Whereas some royals struggled to stay relevant, Mary had not only kept pace with a changing world but positioned herself and the Danish crown at its very forefront. Even seasoned royal analysts admitted they were taken aback by the sheer scale of this accomplishment. For years they had described Mary as quietly competent, impeccably prepared, a steady hand beside Frederic's more relaxed charm. But now they saw her for what she truly was, a visionary strategist who had methodically steered Denmark's monarchy toward a luminous new chapter, all while maintaining an authentic warmth that made her seem less like a distant figure on a pedestal and more like a cherished friend of the nation. And what of King Frederick in all this? Those close to the royal family say he is nothing short of ecstatic, both as monarch and as a devoted husband. He has long admired Mary's tireless commitment, often remarking in private that her wisdom and insight have repeatedly guided him through the complexities of royal duty. Watching her stand at the summit's podium, articulating Denmark's aspirations to the world with such compelling force, friends say the pride in his eyes was unmistakable. It was, they say, the look of a man who knew that together, he and Mary were building something enduring, a legacy that would echo through Danish history for generations. Even more touching is the reported reaction of their children. Sources inside Amalienborg reveal that Princess Isabella, who has often accompanied her mother on engagements and who was herself growing into a poised young royal, was so moved by the global praise showered upon Queen Mary that she was seen hugging her tightly after the event, whispering words of admiration that left the Queen visibly emotional. Prince Christian, now coming into his own as Denmark's future king, was said to have watched the proceedings with the earnest attention of someone keenly aware of the enormous footsteps he one day hopes to follow. As the dust settles on this monumental achievement, there's little doubt that Queen Mary has fundamentally altered the narrative around what a queen consort can achieve. No longer merely a supportive figure in the background, she stands as a beacon of proactive, heartfelt leadership, a woman who has gracefully balanced the dazzling traditions of royalty with a piercingly modern sense of purpose. And so as Denmark basks in this extraordinary moment, as newspapers continue to print special editions and television specials replay her triumphant summit highlights, one cannot help but wonder what remarkable chapter Queen Mary might write next. She has already achieved what many thought improbable, perhaps even impossible. In doing so, she has not only fulfilled a deeply personal goal but has also elevated Denmark onto a glittering new pedestal in the concert of nations. So now, dear viewers, as we celebrate this historic milestone together and watch the Danish royal family step into a future forever changed by Queen Mary's unwavering vision, we must ask, with a heart full of curiosity and hope, what dazzling heights will Queen Mary of Denmark reach next, and how might she once again astonish the entire world? And perhaps that is the most compelling question lingering in the hearts of millions today. What could possibly be next for Queen Mary of Denmark, a woman who has already surpassed so many expectations, broken so many quiet barriers, and written a chapter of royal history that future generations will surely study with awe? Because for all her achievements, there remains an undeniable sense that Queen Mary's story is far from complete, that somewhere within her calm and resolute demeanor lies yet another dream, another ambition waiting for its perfect moment to unfold. In the hushed hallways of Amalienborg Palace, aides whisper of new initiatives the Queen has begun sketching out. Insiders suggest she is already in delicate talks with several international organizations to expand her advocacy on global mental health, particularly focused on adolescents. Those close to Mary say her heart has long been stirred by the silent suffering of young people grappling with anxiety, depression, and the bruises of social pressures, and that she feels uniquely positioned now, standing at the peak of her influence, to shine a fierce and unwavering light on these often hidden struggles. Imagine, then, the image of Queen Mary convening a groundbreaking series of youth mental health forums across Europe, perhaps even establishing a signature summit that would draw not only royalty and politicians but psychologists, social entrepreneurs, educators, and, most crucially, young people themselves. Envision her standing before a sea of hopeful faces, speaking candidly of resilience, of community, of the preciousness of each individual life. How many lives might such a project change? How many silent battles might find strength simply by seeing that a queen, from one of Europe's most storied thrones, cares enough to give them voice? And yet even as her eyes turn to such sweeping humanitarian goals, Queen Mary remains profoundly committed to her core role within the Danish royal family. Sources close to the palace reveal how deeply she invests in her children's daily lives. Despite the glitter of state dinners and the weighty solemnity of international treaties, Mary is often found at home in more humble scenes, guiding Princess Josephine's hand through delicate embroidery stitches, laughing heartily with Prince Vincent as they puzzle over a tricky Lego construction, or leaning close to listen to Princess Isabella's eager recounting of her latest school project. These are the moments that sustain her, confidants say, the small, warm instances of motherhood that anchor her against the swirl of global expectations. There's also the quietly blossoming role she plays in preparing Denmark's future monarch, Prince Christian, for the staggering responsibility that awaits him. Those who've glimpsed their private interactions say there is a special kind of dialogue between mother and eldest son, one woven through with gentle mentorship, light teasing to keep things humble, and the occasional solemn reminder of the profound duty resting upon his shoulders. Mary's approach is never harsh or rigid. Rather, she seems to embody a philosophy that blends tradition with empathy, reinforcing in Christian not just the ceremonial aspects of kingship but the moral backbone and compassion that must sustain it. Meanwhile, King Frederik stands ever by her side, visibly rejuvenated by the tide of success sweeping through their reign. Observers of the Danish monarchy have often remarked on the uniquely modern dynamic of their partnership. Here is a royal couple bound not just by affection and duty but by a genuine respect for one another's strengths. Frederik has been repeatedly seen stepping back to let Mary command the stage, smiling with open pride as she navigates delicate diplomatic exchanges or delivers passionate keynote addresses. In an era when some royal houses still wrestle with outdated notions of gendered roles, Denmark's king and queen have become quiet revolutionaries, showcasing a model of sovereign partnership that is profoundly equal and mutually empowering. Beyond Denmark's borders, Queen Mary's recent achievements have sparked subtle shifts within other European royal households. In Stockholm, Madrid, Oslo, and Brussels, royal advisors are reportedly analyzing the Mary effect, attempting to decipher how her combination of personal relatability, intellectual rigor, and strategic charm has not only bolstered her popularity but materially advanced Denmark's global standing. It is a case study many are keen to emulate, albeit quietly. In certain circles, There is talk of how Mary's success has even influenced the kinds of philanthropic focuses and diplomatic initiatives now being encouraged for other young royals, especially future queens and princesses who see in Mary a living blueprint of what modern royal impact can look like. Of course, with such blazing visibility comes a magnified level of scrutiny. Not all headlines are purely celebratory. Some segments of the press, forever hungry for controversy, have tried to cast Mary's soaring influence in a more conspiratorial light, speculating about rivalries within European courts or whispering of supposed tensions between Queen Mary and certain aristocratic circles less thrilled by her dynamic modern approach. Yet time and again, these murmurs seem to falter against the sheer authenticity of Mary's engagements and the steadfast loyalty she inspires among both her immediate family and the broader Danish populace. Indeed, one of the most telling moments came in the days following the historic Copenhagen summit. As Mary returned to her daily schedule of patronage visits and local community engagements, crowds turned out in even greater numbers than usual. Entire families lined up along village streets, waving Danish flags, holding hand-painted signs that read, "Talk Mary, Thank You Mary." Elderly citizens who had followed her journey from the earliest days wept openly as she paused to clasp their hands. Young mothers pushed strollers close just to share a brief word. Teenagers shouted out encouragements, proudly snapping selfies that instantly flooded social platforms with adoring captions. If there was ever doubt about the depth of Denmark's love for their queen, these spontaneous tributes washed it utterly away. It is perhaps this very rootedness in the affection of ordinary Danes that gives Queen Mary her extraordinary resilience. For all her global triumphs, for all the glittering gala receptions and serious bilateral discussions, she remains someone who seems genuinely moved by the simplest gestures of gratitude from her adopted people. Those who travel regularly with her on official tours recount how Mary often lingers far longer than protocol requires, engaging with local well-wishers, listening intently to personal stories, and offering words of comfort or shared laughter that linger with people long after the royal motorcade has moved on. Then there is the matter of legacy, a concept that inevitably haunts every monarchy, which by its nature is tasked with connecting past, present, and future in a single unbroken line. Already, some Danish historians are tentatively beginning to characterize this period of Frederick and Mary's rule as the dawn of a new golden chapter. They point not just to the international acclaim and renewed diplomatic clout but to subtler cultural shifts within Denmark itself. A revival of national pride among younger generations, a flourishing of Danish design and culinary arts on the world stage, and even increased engagement by Danish citizens in humanitarian and environmental causes championed by their queen. Queen Mary, for her part, remains characteristically modest when asked directly about such lofty interpretations of her impact. In a rare candid moment following the summit, captured by a documentary crew, she simply smiled and said that she hoped above all to be a bridge between Denmark's cherished traditions and the boundless possibilities of tomorrow. It is a sentiment that seems to encapsulate her reign thus far, honoring the past, embracing the present, and always casting her gaze forward to a horizon glittering with promise. Yet the story of Queen Mary of Denmark is not merely the story of a single woman's ascent, it is also the story of a nation willing to embrace transformation. It is about Denmark itself, a small but fiercely proud kingdom, choosing to trust, to dream, to project its values of openness, innovation, and kindness onto the wider world through the figure of their queen. This symbiosis between sovereign and citizen is perhaps the most moving testament of all, a reminder that monarchy in the modern era survives not by clinging to dusty relics but by continually renewing its contract with the hearts of its people. And so as we stand together, watching this extraordinary moment unfurl across front pages and social feeds, we find ourselves collectively leaning forward, breath held in hopeful anticipation. What will Queen Mary dare to tackle next? What new heights might she yet scale on behalf of Denmark and all who look to her as a luminous example of dedication and possibility? Will her next bold venture be in the realm of global youth empowerment, environmental stewardship, or perhaps a profound new cultural initiative that ties the Danish royal house even more intimately to the aspirations of everyday citizens? Whatever course she charts, one truth shines brighter than the crown jewels themselves: Queen Mary has become far more than a royal figurehead. She is a living testament to the power of purpose, of empathy, of steady, relentless pursuit of a vision that transcends the glitter of courts and carriages to touch the very soul of a nation. She stands as a beacon not just to Denmark, but to all who dare to believe that dedication wedded to compassion can indeed change the world. And so, dear viewers, as we draw this remarkable chapter to a close, even while fully aware that Queen Mary's story is far from over, we invite you to join us in continuing this royal journey. Keep watching, keep wondering, keep celebrating each new milestone alongside us, because in a world often hungry for authentic inspiration, Queen Mary of Denmark offers us a radiant narrative of hope, courage, and boundless possibility. And now we leave you with this thought. As Queen Mary gazes beyond today's triumphs toward the shimmering future that awaits, what breathtaking dream do you think she will chase next, and how might it once again capture the hearts of Denmark and the entire watching world? If you've enjoyed this royal odyssey, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, share it with fellow royal enthusiasts, and drop a comment below telling us what you think Queen Mary's next great chapter will be. Because together, we're not just spectators, we're part of this incredible story.